It shows that the mic is on. Live chat. Teresa, bear with me. Can you hear me? Live chat. Teresa, bear with me. Can you hear me? Live chat. Teresa, okay. Bear with me. Can you hear me? Live chat. Okay. Bear with me. Finally. I didn't really want you to see me. Okay, a little lipstick. Maybe that'll hide Jabba the Hutt. All right. Give me a minute. All righty. Here's what I came up with. And for some reason, my iPhone quit working. I'm going to do one more second with that, and then I'm done with it. Everything's looking good on this end. Okay. All right, this is how I ended up. For those of you that were here in yesterday's cluster. And y'all know what the end of that word is. Piece of paper. I took everyone's comments. Maybe I should talk to you while I do this. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, big. Okay, I don't really want that. All right, you can see me. I took everybody's comments to heart last night after we all got off the floor, off the video, and I feel I owe you an explanation for a few things. Number one, and probably one of the biggest ones, is that I do not learn verbal. If I get hit with very many verbal things all at once, my brain just goes into fireworks. Kathy, excuse me, Berg was gracious enough to offer to help, and she did, because I found out two things. I found out a workaround for what I was trying to do, which all the software is not ready for yet. And number two, I managed to glean what the problem was, okay? What the real issue was. And I think I've come up with a solution that satisfies both, even though I can't get my palette to show today. Now, anyone that you watch a stream and you enjoy, give them a big old hug, send them a DM, thank them for all the effort that they put into this. And in some cases, we invest money to get software because we're doing it free. There is nothing that changes hands unless we get a couple of pennies from YouTube. So I want you to always keep that in your mind, that we're here. Here, I'm not looking at you. That we're here for fun. We're here. I'm here because it helps me get in the studio every day. I'm here because my mission in life is to help others learn to paint or do crafts or whatever, play with art, because it saved my life. And that's my mission. Anything other than that is bonus. The other thing I want to say is that YouTube dropped Hangouts with warning. And I would imagine that's when StreamYard probably started development. I haven't looked that up yet. I was going to. They're brand new in technology speak. And on the 1st of August, they had 1 million probably users dump on their platform. So any little glitches that they had on their platform were exacerbated because of the number of people trying to use their platform all at once. So they're running a hamster wheel trying to get all these glitches fixed, and everyone is bombarding them with what they want. We want mobile fixed. We want this done. We want that. When in essence, StreamYard's over here trying to fix their core um, to make it work right. So that's what happens in a technology field, and that's what we're in. The minute that you figure things out, your internet's going to burp, or you're going to drop feed somewhere, or they're going to drop it. So just remember that and be patient. Okay. My problem yesterday, well, I had a lot of problems, but the biggest problem was figuring out why you wanted some changes made. And I finally figured that out with Kathy's help. And number one, I can't use my iPhone as one camera in StreamYard as a guest, or my iPad as a guest and count on it. It's one thing if a guest like you is coming in on their iPhone and you lose your stream, that's one thing. But StreamYard isn't supporting that yet. And even though it might work, sometimes it may not work consistently. So I went back to my OBS last night, and I think I told you guys, if the problem was cluttered and you didn't like the bar at the top or the bottom, in my mind, that's icing on the cake. I first had to make sure that the software was working to stream to YouTube. I wasn't really interested as a designer in making it look good until I knew it was all going to work first. That icing, now that I found out what you guys were saying, is a simple fix once I knew the software was going to work. Okay. The other thing that I want to tell you guys, there's no reason I have to, but none of us knows the background of any of the people that we're playing with online. You could be a doctor, you could be a neurophysicist, you could be whatever big shot thing, or you could be a stay-at-home mom. We don't know what you are, and you guys don't know what I am. My career was in graphic design and software. I was a software specialist. Since 1986, that's all I did until the day of the fire. I was an art director for an ad agency. I had my own company, or we had our own company. We had clients like Walmart and JB Hunt, all the big companies here in Northwest Arkansas. I did work for a Branson, Missouri stage act. I did work for an auto agency in New Jersey. So all of that required pressure, and all of it required software demands that the hardware, like the computers, weren't necessarily ready for. So it was always a workaround of some sort or another. And I had to fall back on that this last week because I'm in art mode. I mean, all I want to do is paint, play with color. I don't want to figure out bits and bats and all that stuff anymore. And then the day of, about 2 weeks after the fire, and I was off until the funeral. I went back to work the day after, and I couldn't do it. All the things that I had done, I couldn't do. Just physically, mentally couldn't do it. I had a client call that day and say, look, I really feel bad about your daughter, but are you going to hit my deadline? If not, I need to find somebody else. So that's kind of the stuff we've been trained to deal with in my field of work. I finished her work, and I left our business and walked out and never went back. So there's my story. So I'm always open to suggestions. I'm open to someone who's done it before. Most of the people I've talked to in our group who have done StreamYard aren't trying to do the same things I am. Ian is the only one that I know of. Haven't had a chance to talk to Tanya yet, but Ian is the only one. He and I seem to be going on equal paths to get there, but he's on PC, I'm on Mac, which creates its own differences. Said all that to say, this is what I've ended up with today. Okay. We're not seeing me yet. I wonder why. I see me talking. Oh, there. Now, I also was reminded by Lena that I don't want, yeah, be patient, babies. It's coming. It takes a minute for things to get from me to StreamYard to YouTube. Yes, and now the split screen. I can do away with my picture. There. Okay, we're changing it right now. That's what you're seeing. Again, it takes 2 or 3 steps to get something to happen between StreamYard and OBS. And then YouTube. You got 3 different things going on at the same time. So, is everybody hearing me? I'm glad you're patient, Violet. All right. Like I said, all the glitches are gone except for the palette. And I know that there are a lot of you that want to see it, and we'll just have to do without it today. I will get it. You can rest assured. I don't let things like this get the better of me. The source photo, because yesterday was a cluster, and you know what the, hey, Linda, everything that could go wrong went wrong, and it became laughable after a while. I got back into my chair after it was over, just exhausted, and I had a voice message from Lena, our friend Lena, who said, don't read this until you're in a good mood. And she had outlined, as that was going on yesterday, everything that happened, to everything that could have gone wrong yesterday. The first hour went wrong. And she said, and then you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and made a pretty darn good painting. And the minute that you thought you were finished and said, well, that's it, the screen went black, and I was gone. Now, what happened then was the internet in my house had gone completely down, TV, everything. So she was laughing her butt off. So anyway, that's what happened yesterday. And I'm glad that I survived. Yeah, just remember, none of us, well, I have to claim, because I just told you, are professionals. So everyone needs patience. And I'm going to determine right now what size I want her. And I'm going to set the picture on my screen. It's not a touch screen. Since I don't have the palette today, I want this to be a little bit bigger. Let's see now, the extra of that photograph. I had a late doctor's appointment too, by the way, so I was running late today. Okay. So that's not too displeasing. How's that for a... And I'm going to crack this today. Now, oh, thank you, Lori. The first 15 years were spent learning how to survive. And for the last 3 years after that big surgery that some of y'all know about, I had a hairball in my colon. I make light of it now, but Linda Wessel observed part of it. It wasn't quite that funny. And that kind of pushed me back into therapy. So the last 3 years I've been dealing with the getting back to life type therapy. I'm serious. If you know anybody that's lost a child for 15 years, they're not going to be able to even be anything what they were. So that's enough of that. I mean, it's never enough, but you know what I mean. I love you guys, and I appreciate every one of you. Please don't ever hesitate to ask me for any kind of help, art-wise or otherwise, because I'm here and I am available. Okay? Linda, you need to go back and watch it. It was funny. Wasn't while I was in the middle of it, but it was funny. Whew, center. I'm being real brave today to try this without any prep or anything. So here we go. For those of you that are new to this channel, relax and have fun. And I'm going to be a little bit quiet here for a few minutes until I figure out a little more about what I want. Now, the first thing I'm doing is paying attention to this is paint talk now. I'm sorry, but you know, some people want to learn how to paint and some of you just want to watch for fun. So whichever it is, it's my job to teach those who want to paint as well. So the rule of thirds is a compositional tool, and it's a quickie one that is boiled down into the essence of a tic-tac-toe board. And then theory, each of those 4 cross points are a good place to have your center of interest. So if I put her eyes right here, and then her hat will be right here, the top of her hat. And then from the top of the hat to the bottom of her skirt is going to be about right in here. And I don't like that because that leaves me little room for the water. So I'm just going to back it all up a bit. Yesterday was also a good lesson for me. And it reminded me how far I've come on my journey to be an artist. Because I switched off all the chaos in my brain and was able to go to paint mode and turn out a painting under the worst of circumstances. So for that, I'm proud of me. That's what part of this is all about. Not me, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to measure the angle of her eyes. And I'm going to make some landmarks because I don't want to draw the whole thing. Right now I'm into challenging myself as much as I can, which isn't really fair to me, but I'll try to get her elbows out in there somewhere. And her skirt ends up a little bit like that. A scholarly way of talking about what I'm doing right here is, I don't know what that mark is. Oh, that was her hand. Never mind. I'm drawing an envelope, and all I'm doing is measuring the outer limits of her picture so that I can be sure that I count that. I mean, I don't paint over it. All right. So we've got her eyes cocked. Double check that. I measure it with the pencil to the source photo. Measure the hat. Just make a mark. And I'm going to measure, let's see, her chin, the bottom of her chin. I'm going to put her shoulder about right out here. About right there. Now, let's go ahead and do this one. There's never a stopping place. Oval for hand, okay? Okay, any questions? No questions. All right. I'm going to blow my nose. And it's not really cold. I think I can get a new tissue. I'm coming into the painting zone, so it takes a minute or two to shift and decide what I want to do or decide how I'm going to do it. We studied Jean Haynes last week, and I really wanted to come back on with her book and do some more, but I got a little note from YouTube, which in all the excitement of the day, I haven't followed up on yet, something to do with copyright. And it's no big deal because I'm teaching, so I've got a wet brush. And I'm just kind of painting around the envelope of what I something in there. Now I can see it when I flip it like that. And I'm going to put plenty of water on it because I don't want it soaking in too much on me. And there's that arm. And her head comes around about like that. And down and about like that. And her skirt is in here. Good enough. Want to make sure that I'm fairly accurate where I want it to be. Now I'm going to go back into those greens we had left over. No, I can't get it in. I can get a little bit of it and still have room to paint. I'm just using up anything that's on this palette. Now, something else I want to point out, I've pointed it out before, but I want y'all to know why I'm doing this. About a year or so ago, I quit taping my watercolor paper because it stretches when it gets wet. And if you glue it down or tape it down, When it stretches, it's going to make wrinkles. And when it dries, it will go back down. I mean, it'll go back flat. So this is a theory that I know some artists who use. And I can bring all that on down. That if you don't tape it down, then it can stretch because it's cotton. The only problem I have is not having it on a wet board so that I can pick up the board. But, you know, again, there's a limit to what I can show on camera. And that made a big old mess because I put reddish color in on the green. Now, for you newbies or new people to the channel, I've worked with this color palette now for over a week, and I'm just using whatever is on there. So I'm not real sure what it is. There are Daniel Smiths, mostly, Caroline Green, the Primitex. I'm going to try to catch my hard edges today sooner. I do want yellows. And I do have, oh wait, there's some I can use. I think I want you guys to realize that, and I know I did this, okay? The rigidity of painting and following what you think are the rules can sometimes stymie your development. And it did me. You know, I couldn't paint unless there were rules. But then I started advancing and knowing what my brush would do. I knew all that stuff pretty good, so I could kind of relax a little bit. And this is one of those things that I'm relaxing on. And I'm learning. You will never learn it all. So don't expect to. Tissue is the best thing to blot with. Now, you just saw a way of keeping an area white without using masking fluid. I have some blues and purples over here on the side that I'm mixing with the green to get myself a dark area to come around her. And I can come back in after this layer is dry and I can add some really darks. And I think I just painted right over her skirt. Not that it matters, but. And then let's see, we've got water coming kind of like this. Wish I had a Q-tip. And I do, they're just not right here. I want to kind of see if I can leave some spots for the white water to ripple. Okay. Now I'm going to lay that down flat and let those colors move and mingle on their own. And there's a dirty thumbprint on a white dress. That'll be pretty. There. Now, any questions? Joe, this I didn't say. This is Jean Haynes, Kolinsky, size 10. There are some real good Kolinsky imitation Kolinskys. And I probably can't find it right now, but I used one for my class. I had that in the kit. Here it is, Princeton Neptune. And it behaves an awful lot like, I hope I didn't just lie. I think that's synthetic. Neptune, Princeton. For those of you, if anybody wants to look it up. I don't have a problem with natural hair brushes, but there are some who do. And I'm going to go back in and soften some of these. My hat keeps wanting to disappear. Measure something while I'm waiting for that to dry. I'm out of drawing somewhat on the top, so I'm going to get rid of more of it than I think I'll need to get rid of. So if that's her shoulder, the hat won't be out that far. Okay. I'm working flat, Joe. I like working on an angle. But that's a whole different complexity for a camera. I'm getting some really cool. There's some paint that didn't dissolve. Cool textures. Woo, baby. Breaking up that line a little bit. If you hair dry the paint, you will stop its movement. And the Daniel Smith paints are designed to give you wonderful mixing marks. This is probably Perylene or, well, let me see if I, no, I'll put my green tubes up so I can't, one of the really granulating greens. Now the water that I just put on there, the paint to break up that line, has made just a little pool, which means, a cauliflower, which means that my paper was becoming drier than the water in the brush that I put it on with. See this little mark right up here? See how that area is still shiny? I could put paint in there and it wouldn't make a cauliflower. But in here, see, you can't see any shine. So that means this paper, don't touch it again until you're ready for it to be completely dry. Now see how that's flattened back out all by itself? We're getting some wonderful marks. And it will keep moving even in this stage. This little pigment's just kind of, you get out of the way. No, I'm going over there. You go over there. And those little granules of rocks just kind of move around. And I'm stronger than you. Get out of my way. And that's kind of what they do. I love palette dirt, Joe. Look at this. Plenty dry. We want to go on. So I hope that this screen is an improvement. Since I made that source so big, I'm going to see. I don't think I can. See, I don't have any more height with the camera this way. And if I keep making it bigger, I'm afraid it's just going to make it out of focus. Let's see. While I'm waiting on that to dry, let's see. No, the brush is still in focus, so I'll try that a little bit while I'm working on the girl. How about? We're going to conquer this camera business. I love to work on an angle. You do pretty much need a board or something. What this technique really works well for is to get a slick board, like a slick piece of foam core or something like that. And then the wetness of the water and the paper will make the paper stick to that board. And then you can prop it up a little bit. But what you get then is a little bead of color that you can touch and bring it on down. It's really fun. Please dry, dry, please. If I blow on it. Y'all don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I've got somebody that's going around doing thumbs down on all my stuff, which that's fine. It's not a big deal, but it just makes one curious. Is this somebody who knows me and doesn't like me? Or am I painting that bad? But it's okay. It's all good. Things we notice. Quit chit-chatting and do a little more looking at the drawing. Now this is where, if I were working by myself, I would start something else or go to pick up another painting that needed some work. I was concerned about the foliage doing it like this. Because as I've told y'all before, you know that I'm a realist and I always want to make it look like a photograph. Yeah, I do, Joe. Thank you, though. I just ignore it because they are watching it to put a thumb on it. And again, I want to reiterate, anytime y'all have any questions, let me know. If you want to learn more about form, value, lightness and darkness, temperature, cool and warm, then take a look at my class. The link is in the description below. It's the Elements of Art. There are about 8 of them. And if you get a good grasp of those, and this is if you want to learn how to paint. If you don't want to learn how to paint, ignore me. Okay, I'm going to hit this with some heat because it's dry enough. I think we've gotten the goodie out of moving. Okay. Now, everybody take a deep breath. I'm going to be working in this corner. I'm going to use my, you think, I'm going to try to use the Jean Haynes Sable liner brush. I've not used one that much. In fact, I think this is the first one I really owned. And I told y'all the other day how much I liked this area down here because it was pretty colors the way they made their own on the palette. But I don't want that much green in my skin tone. Okay, now those of you who've heard me talk before on occasion, any red, yellow, and blue will make a skin tone. Doesn't have to be a primary. Plain burnt orange. I don't know if I have a blue out. Plain gold. Perylene. Here's cobalt. I need to get my brush wringer after this. I'm going to put that cobalt. Maybe. Right up there. Don't ever throw away a tube that's almost dry on watercolor or gouache, because you can unwrap this bottom and cut that tube, open it up, and scrape out all that paint that's still in there. I don't need much, so I just put a little bit. I'm going to mix with this Low Cornell. It's a perfectly good 70-20 series, size 6. It's what I've used for, golly, 18 years, and it still works. So now these colors up here were left over from the other day, and they've got golds and stuff in them. So I'm just going to help myself to some of that. And my 100% natural bird's eye cotton diaper. 100% cotton. Got it on Amazon. Now I'm going to test this right there. And remembering that it dries a lot darker, a lot lighter. That will be fine. Hey, Patricia. Oh, thank you guys. It's been an interesting journey to get where I am. I want to just have a place marker for the hat. So for shoulders here, and the hat ends. Something like that. Now, every time you see me reach across, that means I'm using my paintbrush on my computer screen to measure. I told y'all the other day that that's why I like having my portrait or picture source photos on my monitor. I don't recommend painting from an inkjet print because the colors are not calibrated and they're not true. If you've got a color laser and have it calibrated, I used to paint from those all the time. But it's all a lot easier just to do it from your monitor, your iPad. If you remember, chicken shit. If you remember that you can't match the color on a monitor because it is backlit and not ink lit. I want to differentiate her hair so I can better judge where her face is. Yeah, if anybody ever wants to see any of my art, go to VickiRossArt.com and you'll find links to social media. I'm lazy in the regard that, okay, pay attention to what you're doing now. I don't have everything pristinely set up. And again, that was part of what I spent my career doing, and I just got tired of doing it. But I do have a lot of my work in a gallery that you can see. I mean, online gallery. Now I can actually, since that's still so wet, bring in a little shadow right there where the eyes go. Green under here doesn't really matter because the hair is separated enough that it can look like hair and still have green. Right. Hey, Arlene. Jilly, I missed you coming in. And my Joycey, I love my Joycey. Okay, now let's see if we can get back on this skin. I'm trying to leave some whites as I go. And again, I told somebody yesterday, the day before, that I don't care for masking fluid. And on the outside edge of this arm, I'm trying to leave some white. And that's it on skin tone. Except for coming back in and doctoring it. Hey, Rosemary, things are calmer today. Rosemary was in on it yesterday. Okie doke. I put out the cobalt blue that I will use in the shadows of her skin tone. And right now I'm going to paint the blue shadows. Well, they're actually gray, but might as well be blue. And I will get back to my journaling because I miss it. Just painting the shapes I see. I wish I had a lavender out. Let's use some of this. This is the Holbein lavender, and it has white in it. Which makes it opaque, so it's not undifferent than a gouache. Oops. Now under her hand, her right hand, her skirt ends about right here. So if I get that established, I need to be paying attention to my edges. I am working on Fabriano because I have a store supply of it. You don't have to worry about getting everything as dark as you think you want it on the first pass. Are y'all able to follow where I am on the picture that you're seeing? And we're not so, I'm not so much as a realist to expect this is going to look like a photograph. But all the water drops I'm getting on that painting, it won't matter. Okay, so there's that one. And this is an overskirt, it appears. This is kind of her knee. This is the fun stuff. It doesn't have to look like anything. La 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 la. If y'all want to take a really good encaustic class for beginners, visit Rosemary Morris. She even sells a kit that will get you started, so you don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff, not knowing if you're going to need it or not. Okay, I'm going to give that a rest. And carefully think about going in with the greens that I need. I'm digging into some purple I found over here on the side. I want a real dark, cool color for this area right in here. Actually, this is a rock. I am a rock. I am an island. I know, stick to my day job. That, more like that. This is a rock down here, it appears that she's sitting on. Okay. Joe, yeah. I like it because you can make marks like that. I don't think it's so good filling in areas unless they're really small ones. But yeah, I'm liking it. Let me see what else I've got. I've got a size 1 silver from my neighbor across the street, but I don't know right where it is. Anyway, yeah, it's working well for me. Let's come back in with some more of that muddy color. Play up here with her hair a little bit. And you'll put that undercoat or that first coat to good use if you let it shine through. We're not into painting individual hair strands. And she's got, it's almost a white light right here. And now we've got a real dark. As often as not, I like to make a mark with the belly of the brush. Now the hair out in the sun is more golden. And if wishes were horses, I could have used some white. I'm having fun, guys. Like I said yesterday, in the midst of all the crazy, I've wanted to do this with watercolor for the longest time. Now then, I would have, I better wait. I don't want to screw up at this point. All right, now, I want to get some more detail on that hat. Jean Haynes brushes, by the way, are by Rosemary and Company. They're handmade in England, and they are beauties. Sorry I got so quiet. Get out of my skin tone. It's a little bit of cast shadow, but I really do it. Watercolor may look like it's Speedy Gonzales, but it's not. Believe me. Believe me. It's every bit as deliberate and careful as an oil painting. Mm-hmm. It's what you call not wanting to get out another thing of paint. Just add some green to the orange, and there you have it. Now need a little bit of Well, actually, pretty good. Just needs maybe just a hair, and that could come in, so that would do it. Not quite that much. There's just a little bit of the muscle. I'm gonna get a little bit of dark green. Then we're going to leave that white. Looks like a claw right now. Okay, I'm gonna quit diddling with that right now. Okay. The grand ta-da-da-da. Cast shadow from her hair. And her little booby. Right now she looks like she's 6 years old. Of course, I think a lot of Asian women do. Come on. And I just saw something that looks like she's got hair under her arm, which she does not. Take a breath. And I'm not opposed to picking up a tube of something reddish and going straight into the tube with it. This source photo is from Pexels, Pexels, and they are free. If y'all enjoy this type of video, please let me know and invite your friends. Thanks, Joe. Hey, Beth. You coming on tonight at 6? I'm being real quiet today. She still looks like she's 6. All right, let's go back to some greens. I'm gonna hit that with with my heat gun. Vicky's having a quiet day, Beth, after yesterday. I may have scared Kathy Berg off, but we talked last night. Everything's cool. All right. This is negative painting. Means I'm painting around a subject. Oh well, if she looks too young, so be it. Okay. This is brown ochre hematite, just kind of a reddish dirt. See? And I want to make this is a rock. I am a rock. And I forgot all about her underskirt. That's all right. We can either do it or do without it. I can have a brown rock, right? Now I'm using the opaque Holbein because it just kind of came in handy sitting there. And it will cover up some of that green where yours truly didn't exactly draw her design. And that will need to be modified with a little bit of green to tone down that purplish color. If any of y'all have not watched Beth's stream, she streams on Tuesday, Thursday night, and maybe Friday night and Saturday night. I don't know. I like. I'm just kind of pulling some little highlights out. Is everybody behaving over there? Oh, there's Azure. Hey, Azure. Could be. Could be young because of that. I've got her face straight instead of that. But that is a common thing. We always try to put things square to the world. So yeah, she's off a little bit, but nobody but me and you'll know that. A black-haired woman in my palette. Made coffee, took out the dog, did the dishes. Ooh, you need to. Do I find it hard to convert a photo into a painting? No, not really. I find it harder to find a painting in a landscape, like when I'm outside and you've got a 360 view. See, whoever took this photo as a photographer, and it came from Pexels, already did the composition for me. And that's why if you ever enter compositions, they're going to want you to, you have to use your own source photo for that reason. Well, you know me, Joycey. I think you do. All right, get away from the hat. Now I need to soften down here a little bit. I could have done that a few minutes ago. I got distracted by the hat. I'm telling you guys, I really, for some reason, like drawing without a, painting without a drawing. All right, underskirt. We're going to get that sucker in there just like this, maybe. I find it way harder, and this is just me and my little picadillos, way harder to paint without realism. And I don't know why that bothers me. That helps a little. Woo, we blew it big time down here. Azure, back on photos. I find it harder to paint from life because my ADHD kicks in and I just want to hurry up and rush through it because something's going to change, like the light or the model or the old masters used every trick in the book when they were painting. Camera obscuras and they didn't have cameras, so they used reflecting devices. Alrighty, daddy. Now, let's see if we can get us some bluish water. I almost messed up there because I just saw that there's a reflection of her hand. Taking my time, boss, taking my time. and my whiteout. Thanks, Joe. Arlene, squirrel in a tree, and there's a butterfly. Wait, I'll paint that. Yeah. And there's a leaf up here that's got sharp edges. I love that leaf. Night, Joe. Um, I can get those whites back with some some gouache. This red is a beautiful color. And I didn't leave. This area down here can be a little more detailed. And in the upper area, we'll get a little more definition of darks and stuff, but not really much detail. Getting the lights of those. It's a whole lot easier to lift up after when it's still fresh. I'm going to be wrapping this up here pretty quick. A little bit of negative painting. Making a forest where there was none. Okie dokie. Just going to do some loose stuff here in the jungle around her. Just getting some loose edges around my pretend leaves. Funny thing about this is that I can sit and paint like this for hours. But you get me on some other stuff, like sometimes journaling or something. Well, not even that. Maybe just watching somebody else. My ADD kicks in and I'm just out of there. It's not doing it. Whitewash. Because it's getting time for me to let y'all go. Now this will dry down quite a ways because my brush was damp. Wasn't wet, but it was damp. Okay, now we have some water. Very dry brush in here. Creating illusions. One last thing. Artists are magicians. Give you part of the story and then let you complete it for yourself. I'm just about ready to quit. Now, one more thing. Who is it used to do that? Columbo? I'm going to get some of this opaque blue and thin it down a little bit. And I'm going to see if I can cool down this background a little bit into a haze. And I think it kind of worked. I would call this a real good study. It kind of worked. All right. Go fix dinner. Thanks, Joycey. Okay. I'll be over there in about 20 minutes as soon as I get set up. Thank you, guys. It was fairly smooth today. I'm tickled about that. And again, if you want to know about my assessment on yesterday's cluster, go see the first part of the stream. And if not, just stay right here and watch this. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.